Okay, our microphone is hot. Once again, JV Wins is here. Dogon SS is here. Back for another edition of the Conscious Approach Video Series podcast, YouTube show, whatever you want to call it.
That's
On
right.
the YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Before we get started with this week's stream, of course, go ahead and give you boys a big solid and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Much appreciation to everyone in advance, and also appreciation to those who have already subscribed to the channel. We most certainly appreciate your support as we continue to make these fun little videos each and every week. So, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the commentary in these videos because we certainly appreciate it. Now, with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and kick things off. This week, we are going to talk about this drama that is unfolding between former NFL defensive lineman Michael Oher, who was the subject of the film The Blind Side. So, for anyone who has not seen The Blind Side, go ahead and check that out. It depicted a dramatization of Michael Oher's story, or so we thought, in which he was orphaned and he was adopted by this family, and they sort of helped guide him along in life. He ended up going to Ole Miss, where he was a college star, got drafted, went to the NFL. He was a pretty good NFL player. But apparently, not all is what it seems with that film. And on top of Michael Oher now going public saying that he feels as though it was not a good depiction of who he is as a person, he is also suggesting that he was not adequately compensated in a manner that is commensurate with his involvement in the project. So this has spurred all sorts of debates and conversations in the entertainment world. And of course, we are going to cover it here. So we thought we would go ahead and kick things off with this particular topic. It's pretty interesting.
Mm.
So we will go ahead and obviously, as we like to do, provide a little context first before we give our 2 cents on what's going on with this story. We'll go ahead and share this screen here. This is from an article published by Slash Film. It says, subject of The Blind Side alleges film is based on lie and made everyone rich except him. So I'm going to go ahead and skip the first paragraph because it's just a bunch of introductory filler, and I'm just going to go all the way down here to the meat. In most cases, no one gets hurt by a filmmaker taking a liberty or tend to tell a more stirring story. 2006's The Blind Side, however, may be a truly disturbing exception. According to ESPN, Michael Oher, the offensive lineman, so that's my bad. I misspoke. I said he was a defensive lineman. He was on the offensive line. So correction there. The offensive lineman who was portrayed as having been plucked out of poverty and transformed into a top football prospect by Sean and Leanne Tuohy has filed a 14-page petition in a Tennessee court alleging that Tuohy's misled him into signing a document that made the couple his conservators. Furthermore, he claims they profited handsomely from the 2009 blockbuster while he hasn't seen a cent. There have been chips forming in this feel-good stories facade for years, but if what Oher alleges is true, The Blind Side, which starred Sandra Bullock as Leanne, a performance that won her a Best Actress Oscar, was a deeply dishonest hagiography. I don't know if I said that word. I'm not sure or familiar with that word. Hagiography, designed to line the pockets of the Tuohys at his emotional expense. Let's take a closer look at the charges. Per the petition, the conservatorship has allowed the Tuohys and their two birth children to rake in millions of dollars in royalties. They've also continued to call Oher their adoptive son as a means of promoting the film's Making It Happen Foundation while bolstering Leanne's side career as a motivational speaker. The legal filing reads thusly, so I'm not going to read that. Or is seeking an end to the conservatorship and an accounting of how much money the Tuohys have made off his name and likeness, which could get sticky if lawyers can take a look at the foundation's books. He is also requesting his share of the profits and an injunction against the family's further attempts to capitalize on what appears to be a self-serving misrepresentation of his story. Previously, the Tuohys, who have yet to comment on the filing, have claimed they shared whatever profits they earned from the film with Oher. But it's not just about the money for Oher, it's about the movie and how he was portrayed in it. According to his recently released autobiography, When Your Back's Against the Wall, Oher was wounded by the film's depiction of him as unintelligent. As he told ESPN in 2015, people look at me and they take things away from me because of a movie. They don't really see the skills and the kind of player I am. The film is based on Michael Lewis's The Blind Side Evolution of the Game, a non-fiction account split between Oher's story and a deep tissue analysis of how NFL legend Lawrence Taylor changed the way offensive lines defend pass rushers. So yada, 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 yada. So on top of him feeling like he was jilted and cheated for signing a document that handed over conservatorship rights to the Tuohy family, he also feels as though the film depicted him as unintelligent. He wasn't too appreciative of that. Now, to make this even more strange, the internet, as it always likes to do, also wants its pound of flesh. So apparently the internet is claiming that because of this, Sandra Bullock should give her Oscar back. So this article from TMZ says Twitter wants her Blindside Oscar pulled after Oher controversy. Twitter is home to a lot of ridiculous opinions, but the latest trend involving Sandra Bullock might be the app's worst. Users are calling for her to lose her Oscar on the heels of the Blind Side controversy. It's about as crazy as it sounds, especially since there's zero evidence Bullock, who played Leanne Tuohy in the movie, had any claim of the drama behind the scenes with Michael Oher and the Tuohy family. One user wrote, "So Sandra Bullock should have to give back her Oscar, right? And man, do we need to start checking these good feeling stories. Parents marked $300 in earnings, the movie from him getting any of it and gave the money to their real children. Wow." Another says, "If the Michael Oher allegations are true, then we have to go and take the Oscar back from Sandra Bullock and give it to Gabourey Sidibe for Precious." And Sandra Bullock should give her Oscar back. She knows she didn't deserve that shit. And so there are screen captions of some of these tweets running around. And you also have some people who are defending Sandra Bullock. However, there's also people coming to her defense, writing, "Now, not y'all." I think they meant to say now. Well, it was a typo. People really need to start checking their grammar when they go to social media. "Now y'all calling for Sandra Bullock's Oscar to be revoked. It ain't her fault the real life people were exploitative scammers and thieves. And you know Sandra Bullock deserved her Oscar because she acted so well. She made the Tuohy family likable." So there is definitely shrapnel all around for this particular story, but it looks to be pretty ugly and getting uglier. So what do you make of this particular situation, as well as Sandra Bullock being demanded by the internet to give her Oscar back because there's controversy surrounding this movie?
Boy, I mean, let's see. This whole dynamic here, this whole dynamic here is a bit sad. When I forgot who told me to watch this movie. I forgot who it was, but some girl I was talking to really liked the movie, and she told me to watch it. And one day it was on. I don't forgot where I was at, but I'm watching this somewhere. But it was relatively recent, I would say. I guess at least old enough to have context of what the hell I was looking at. And so I'm sitting there looking and watching, this thing, and it was a feel good story. It was some stuff in there that just wasn't adding up. And I'm a big college football enthusiast, right? And the way the story was going, it made him seem like he was just some orphan who didn't even play football at all. And also, it was it was stuff where they were trying to like teach him like just teach him football, and it was like, you don't go to Ole Miss on a full blown scholarship just because you know 6'3", 300 pounds, So there has to be something to this guy for him to be even getting scouted by Ole Miss. Now, granted, the story was taking him from some whatever guy and making him into this person, but it doesn't happen like that, especially with old linemen. And this is the point. So I'm like, that's not really adding up. Then once I found out that those two, the two people that adopted him, in air quotes, were boosters for Ole Miss, and I was like, oh, well, there you go. So that this just adds up even more. By the way, so for those of you that are not aware, boosters are like, donors, fundraisers for the university. They're like, evangelical people at a church. They just raising money. They're pro team. And so these two pro team Ole Missians find this orphan in air quotes, and then take him in, and then get paid when he finally goes to the NFL. So to me, I was like, man, this is sketchy. I don't like this. So the story, when I'm watching it, wasn't really making sense. Then I really didn't feel good about it. But I said, hey, he loved these people. They took him in when nobody else would, and all this other whoop-de-whoop. So I just wrote it all off. So coming to find out, he didn't like the story, his depiction. It did make him look dumb. It made him look just like a waste of a person. Even when he morphed into Super Michael Oher in the movie, he still looked pathetic. So it was a feel good story, and if I was a young and impressionable person, I would have got swooped right in on that. But as I'm reading the comment section as this stuff was going down, I'm seeing so many people saying, "Oh man, my childhood was ruined," or "Oh man, just when I thought there was good people in the world," and all. People were really hurt by this. But again, if you look at it, if you look at it from a bird's eye view, this story wasn't really adding up in the first damn place. And to find out that these people really took it there, allegedly, to just scam him out of even thinking that he's getting adopted, just so they can get his name and likeness, and then not even cut him $1 for the movies. This is ridiculous. This is the biggest bait and switch I've ever heard in my entire life. And so I have no empathy for those people. They've seemed predatory from the beginning. The movie seemed like a cash grab for them. She writing books, motivational speaking. She made a whole career out of stealing a whole young man's life. And so they say he just, in air quotes, he found out this February, allegedly. So he just found out, apparently. But, the NFL dollars ain't rolling in no more. So I'm pretty sure he's getting a looking at stuff. And, hey, wait a second. I'm not getting paid for that movie. Yeah, bro, you're not. So, and real quick with the Sandra Bullock thing, I was applauding that on as you were reading that because, yeah, take it. Take her trophy. And I'm going to tell you why. So long as they're holding Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy hostage for taking, a car or some shoes or something. It was something real petty. It wasn't even a car. It was something very petty. And so for them to target Reggie Bush and then take his Heisman Trophy as if he wasn't the most electrifying player that year, I call BS on that. And so, yeah, take her Oscar. It's some part about it. It was like, hey, man, this was an authentic movie. The reason why she won it, was because it was supposed to be based on a true story. If this was if this wasn't based on a true story, it was a Lifetime movie and nobody would have cared. But I'm just teasing. I really don't think they should have taken it away, but they should have taken it away. What about you, man? How do you feel about this whole fiasco? It is a mess from A to Z, man. So, how do you make this?
It is a mess from A to Z, and hopefully this wises more people up to the fact that these sports movies that are based on a true story, especially the ones that center around a player being able to make it to college, are exploitative. So if you don't want to be a part of supporting, funding, making something that is rooted in exploitation profitable, then you shouldn't spend your money behind it. And to even to that end, like college sports is exploitation, and we've always known that. So it stands to reason that any offshoot of college athletics in the entertainment industry is also going to be exploitative. So if you don't want to fund or support things that are blatantly exploitative, then don't go watch the movie. Now I'm gonna cut people a pass. Usually I like to kind of get on my soapbox and tell people how they're full of shit because they want to complain about stuff when they willfully support it. But it would appear as though a wool was pulled over everybody's eyes because everyone thought this was a true story that everybody was in on or included. And now that it's come to light that Orr is not necessarily in the know when it comes to or was not in the know in terms of being in favor of the way that he was depicted in the movie. And by the way, certain aspects of his depiction, I got to rock with him on that. It's like he was John Coffey, but the football player sports
Yeah,
version.
yeah,
It was like he
yeah.
was the oaf. Yeah, it was like he was an oaf who was given the gift of football by this benevolent family.
Exactly,
Uh,
dude.
and rarely are those situations what they seem to be when depicted in film.
Hmm.
So this thing was exploitation all the way around because these guys are exploited from the time that they step foot on a college campus, or even before that, from the time they step foot on a high school football field. It's a cash grab. How
Hmm.
much can we extract from this person's existence? And usually, 9 times out of 10, these people don't have individuals around them who are selfless enough to ensure that those people get the lion's share of the return for the work that they are going to inevitably put in. Most of these individuals like or are surrounded by opportunists who are going to see that you reap some sort of benefit, but they're also going to make sure that they get some kind of benefit themselves. And oftentimes they see to it that they get an even greater benefit than you do. So, it's like, those royalty checks from that movie are going to keep kicking in long after Aura's playing career is over, and it's been over. And so into perpetuity, that family is going to see a return on that investment that the very subject of the movie is not going to get. And there's something that feels wrong about that. However, this complex, because the entertainment complex is just that, it's a complex. It runs on the same sort of machinations as prison complexes and the sexual marketplace and everything else that is sort of an industrialized complex in Western America. If you don't want to see it proliferated to this degree, you have to do your due diligence to not support it. And that movie was both critically acclaimed and it was commercially successful. It made a lot of money,
Hmm.
largely off of the star power of Sandra Bullock, but also because the movie sort of caught a wave because it was about an act at the time. It was about an active player, and it was a feel good story, and people love that kind of stuff. But people just need to keep in mind that those stories tend to be a form of exploitation in one way, shape, or form. And thankfully, even though I'm not the biggest fan of NIL all the way around,
Hmm.
it at least lessens outside influences ability to strip these guys of the opportunity to collect as much as they can off of the work that they are going to put in. So there's still some aspects of regulations that need to get put in place for things like NIL, but at the end of the day, the idea that they're not going to get totally screwed because of the work that they put in, I'm a big fan of that. But when you get to the point where you're talking about the movie industry and these big budget movies with these Hollywood people, there's an exploitation element that is playing a factor there. And if you want to hold these entities accountable for at the very least getting the story right, then just don't go see the movie because the less money these movies make, like the less profitable that these projects are, the higher the likelihood that the individuals who are behind the curtain are going to see to it that everybody who is presented in the film um, is depicted accurately, correctly, that people are paid accurately and correctly, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a trickle down effect for sure. But just make sure that you put your money where your mouth is, because yeah, you could tell from the time this movie was released that there's exploitation written all over it. And as for Sandra Bullock, leave her alone. Unless you can prove, unless you can prove to me that she was in on or getting screwed, all she did was say, "Oh, okay, cool movie." She was duped like the rest of us, I believe. She was just like, "All right, cool movie. I'll act in it, whatever." And she acted, and so she was given a trophy for her acting job. So she don't have nothing to do with this. I don't think she should have to give her trophy back. But that's what the internet is nowadays. Like, we need all the pounds of flesh that we possibly can.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's an element of race that is embedded in this as well. Because if Sandra Bullock was a black actress and this was a movie about a black family, no one would be saying this. But because Sandra Bullock is a white actress, we need the pitchforks brought out so that she can give her trophy back. And it doesn't help the situation that that was the year where that Precious movie was nominated for an award too, and so that's also a black actress and blah 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 blah. But I'll say leave her alone. She ain't have nothing to do with it. Um, that's her trophy. It is what it is. This was like 13 years ago. So who cares anyway? Why do you put so much stock into those stupid ass trophies anyway, or those award shows for that matter? But let her do what she does and just understand how to not support elements of entertainment that are rooted in exploitation. And for that matter, professional and college sports as well. But people love their sports, so you're going to have to decide how much of a sacrifice you're willing to make to see to it that these things don't continue to happen. Because so long as these industries continue to make the billions of dollars that they make, and make no mistake about it, this movie ties into the success of college football too. So it's all intertwined as far as I can tell. And that movie is as successful as it can be, at least in some part, because of the success of college football, which is professional football masquerading as college athletics, even still, which in and of itself is a form of exploitation. So I know we all love our college football, myself included. It has vaulted to probably my second favorite sport to this day. But just understand what you're watching. Know that it's all exploitation. And if there's an aspect of you that feels a certain type of way about Michael Oher getting jilted, then just know what you're watching and just go to the theaters with the right state of mind and put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, I can see that angle, but I mean, I guess for those watching, but the masses, man, they gonna eat up whatever. So exploitation or not, honestly, they prefer the exploitation. They were whoa, somebody's getting exploited. Yeah. It's right there. Theater B. They're going to theater B. You could say, hey, theater A, all right, it's got a feel good story based on a true story. Theater B, all right, is roughly based on a true story. All right. It's got some ignorance, some mayhem in it. Whoa. Exploitation. Well, I'm sold. They're going over there. That's like sprinkling MSG on a film. You sprinkle MSG on a film, it's gonna pop. Everybody gonna want that. So nah, these people gonna take their high fructose corn syrup, bro. So they gonna take it. They want that exploitation. The other night, I'm sitting here scrolling through whatever that was. Then I see a TV show on, I think it's like Netflix or something, and it was called Down for Love or something like that. And they call it Down for Love, but the show is centered around people with Down syndrome. And I was like, wait a second. So they based a whole show off exploiting people with Down syndrome, shows about little people. Bro, they'll do anything to exploit people, and people are signing up for these things because you don't want to laugh at exploitation. I don't want to laugh at exploitation, but there's a large population of people that get rocks off by watching other people getting exploited. So consciously or subconsciously. So it's a thing, man. I wish. I mean, that's how I pretty much look at it. I whenever I look at something that's based on the true story, I know there's some embellishment going on. All right. So, but at the same time, the way they just threw Homeboy under the bus, it really just didn't connect. In order to be a first round pick in the NFL,
In
all right,
the SEC, yeah.
and playing in the SEC,
Yeah.
you don't suck. You didn't just start playing yesterday. I found out this guy, he ran track. He did all kinds of stuff. He played basketball. He was a multi-sport athlete before he met these people.
And he could read.
Read. How about that? You know what I'm saying? So, but then, but here comes Sandra Bullock, and then she goes, "Hey, football." And then here comes movie Michael Oher. Football? Yes, football. And yeah, that's how they made him seem the whole movie. Lock. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, he's running through people and doing all this stuff, and then becomes a recruiter at Ole Miss. Yeah, right. So there was also some weird connection between these two people and Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze was like, I think something like his coach or something, or in high school or whatever, but then became a coach at Ole Miss and then recruited and so it was a whole collusion going around with this kid. So this was a whole game plan, first degree exploitation. This was mapped out from a long time ago, and they kept the charade going. They had so many opportunities to go, hey, you know what? Hey, bro, here's a little something. They didn't care. They would have kept running with this whole thing. And that's the really sick part about this. So, but when you're dealing with these boosters or these universities, all right, these universities, all right, they like to, like you say, bro, exploit athletes. And this situation here, right? So that the university is the big entity. But then there's people that work within these structures that view these players literally like crop.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this situation here, they played this young man like crop, like live cattle. And they plotted around this man's whole existence, no different than a farm animal. So they didn't see anything about it. There was a part of me, because there's always a part of me whenever I see a kid that was going through foster care or whatever, orphan or what have you, and they're adopted by a family that's well off. The kid grows up a little confused about existence because what's going on. So, and I can tell that whoever raised them aided in that confusion. It's a part about me that goes, man, that sucks that this kid is low key out of his mind because of the conditions he was raised in, even though they were good. But then it's like, okay, well, what do you want him to do? Be an orphans? Be an orphan and be in, group home to group home, get abused in all other kind of ways. So as a part about it, I was like, hey man, well, I don't like the fact that he got exploited, but this is back before I knew all this. I was like, I don't like the fact that he got exploited by these people. I don't like this movie. I don't like none of this. But what would his life had been had he not been? I was buying into the hype. But but like he said, he was already on a track to go somewhere anyway without these people help. So I'm glad the truth just came out. The masses, hopefully, people that some people can catch a wake up call from this. But I'm telling you, man, the next piece of garbage that's getting rolled out, it can, people going to eat it up, man. People want to believe in something. So when they give them these type of feel good stories, man, true or not, bro, people going to eat it up. So sad story all the way around, but I'm glad this guy is getting his payback somehow.
Well, I hope he does get his payback.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he does get his payback. Dan Lebitard likes to call, the way that sort of college football players in particular are viewed as like just disposable bodies.
Yeah.
and their disposable bodies, not just to the apparatus of the universities, but their disposable bodies also to the the apparatus that makes college football a $1 billion industry, which is its incredibly huge fan base. Without the fan base, there's no money in corporate sponsorships, advertising, TV contracts. There's no money in any of these things if it's not for the fan base. Gambling also. There's a lot of money in gambling on college football. These things are not profitable if it's not for the fan base that supports it. So I've always largely found people who complain, because I already know what the deal is. So you're not going to hear me crying about exploitation in any college or pro sport, because I know I'm a consumer and I already know what the deal is. So I'm not going to have my cake and eat it too, trying to be a champion for these guys to be treated better and not be exploited when it's not possible for them to not be exploited. I already know what the deal is. It's almost like it's a backhanded agreement behind closed doors. You
Mm-hmm.
get into this, man, you're going to get exploited. It is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
as a fan, if you like following this, gambling on it, if you purchase, the ticket or whatever it is, whatever you do, cable streaming that allows you to watch every game, and you pay your subscription fee every month, like, you're actively a part of the machine of exploitation. So for you to then be someone who wants to talk about someone's justice getting served, or someone's due getting credited to them, you're a part of the problem. Now, I'm not going to be doing that because I know I'm a part of the problem, straight up. Because it's like, I hear all of that, but at the end of the day, I'm going to wake up on Saturday, I'm going to watch game day, or maybe now I'm going to watch, you
Yeah,
know,
bro.
Big Moon Kickoff. I don't know if I'm still watching game day because ESPN is just crazy. But I know I'm gonna wake up on Saturday. I'm gonna, put in tickets if I'm gambling, or I'm going to, do whatever I'm doing, and I'm gonna watch my games, and I'm gonna enjoy the exploitation. I'm going to enjoy the exploitation, and I'm not then going to turn around and holler about the injustice when the injustice exists in part because of my support of said exploitation. So my whole thing with this situation is people need to realize, if y'all don't realize by now, your support of college football is supporting of situations that end in movies like The Blind Side getting made. Now, I recognize this, therefore, I am not appalled by these revelations coming to light. I'm not outraged. I'm not going to sit there and engage in righteous indignation, calling for Michael Oher to get his money. I hope he gets his money because everybody deserves their money. And I hope he gets to clear his name from the standpoint that that movie did not necessarily depict him all that accurately. All that is fair. But I'm also not going to sit around calling for this type of stuff to end, because it won't. I support this machine, and I'm a willful participant because I want my college football. I'm a glutton for it, just like most people who support, just like most people who love it. So at the end of the day, if you truly are about that justice life, and you're truly about these guys not getting exploited in films and entertainment, on the field, by the universities, by boosters, by everybody else, politicians, lobbyists, this stuff is $1 billion conglomerate, people. And there's advertisers involved, cable TV providers, satellite providers, streaming. You got Apple trying to pay for billions of dollars for the right to have you exclusively stream college football games, right? There's all kinds of money in this stuff. If you're spending your money on this, if you're paying for that thing, then don't sit on your phone talking about how wrong what happened to Michael Oher is. Just, you're a part of that thing. So either understand the role that you play in the ecosystem, and you're a glutton for this stuff, accept it and move on, or unplug from it. And then at that point you have the moral high ground to talk about how things should be. And that's just me kind of getting on my soapbox with sort of a big picture angle, not necessarily saying that that's what people should do. I don't give a damn what you do. I'm sitting here in front of this camera saying I'm gonna keep watching college football regardless. Uh, Albeit me understanding and not being okay necessarily, like, intrinsically, with exploitation. But it is what it is, man. I'm a part of the problem because I'm going to keep watching the sports. So don't watch the sport if you really hate it that much. And in my opinion, if you continue to consume it, continue to watch the games, continue to bet, gamble, and have your parties where everybody comes over, or you spend all day at the bar with your friends watching college football games because of how fun it is, then just accept what comes with it, which is exploitation.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've known people. I know people that stopped watching the NFL. They just stopped because they were tired of the exploitation. They got so
Right.
tired of it, they personally boycotted it. So people can do that. So and they do have the right. I mean, me personally, yeah. I mean, I agree, man. I watch college football, and I'm gonna watch that. But the things that I tell myself to, so I can sleep at night, when all of this stuff is going on is, I don't like the health compromises. That's the one part about this that I do not like. I really cringe when these guys are colliding into each other right now. I don't know because I'm getting older or what, but when I see these guys just collide, full speed, I'm like, geez, golly. Because I
Yeah.
already know what that's doing to them over time. So I really don't like the health part of it all. But what gives me peace of mind is that, if they do make it to the league, they do have an opportunity to financially change their life, or through networking to change their life. Hell, even in college, there's opportunities to change their life. They may not be going pro, but they may be hometown stars in another city and something like that, and have the opportunity. Now, do they all take it? No, but there's opportunities to have a better life by just throwing a ball around. So that's the part about it that I do go, hey, well, change your life, young man. And that's why I cheer for these guys. And, and I watch recruits, coming from, 10th grade and, until they get into the league. And it's like, hey, man, I saw that guy grow up, and I'm happy for him that he finally got a chance. I done seen interviews where he talking about buying his mama a house. And now one day he's finally in the league. So that stuff is the reason why I like watching it, although there's exploitation going on. But as you mentioned, in what industry are you not getting exploited? All right. Hey,
Yeah.
I love my job. Ask my job. I love my job. All right. But I know I'm worth more than what I'm getting paid. At
Hmm.
some point, I'm getting exploited here. But you're not making overhead and you're not making income unless somebody's getting exploited. That's literally the definition of capitalism. So, why wouldn't it be, whatever? But it just, to me, it sucks that, impoverished young men, find themselves in positions where they're being taken advantage of by agents, uh, guardians, and all types of stuff by people that they trusted. And for these people to come through, parade around, give motivational speeches. All right, the irony. All right. And to go there and take people's money. That this is a different kind of evil. You know, there's bodies in your basement evil, and then there's this. It's on the spectrum of evil. Like, you went through all this, you went through all these years, you still a foundation and all this other, and he's not getting. That's really sick. So hopefully, like I said, this stuff comes to light, in court, where his name gets restored. The masses, people may not even hear this story, so they're still gonna run with that narrative. That movie gonna live forever. The truth is gonna live as much as people carry it. But hey, over here, bro, Michael Oher, you're redeemed, sir. Congratulations.
Yeah. Shouts out to Lamar, who has his mother as his agent. I know a lot of people criticize him for that thing, but at least if it's your mom representing you, that's
Yeah,
one less possible, succubant who can,
yeah,
sit there and, suckle at the teat of whatever it is that you produce. So,
yeah.
what's up to Illmatic? Appreciate you for joining the chat, man. Thanks for joining in, man. Appreciate that. Uh, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This is definitely bigger than some movie though.
Yeah,
So people got to understand that it's more than the movie. It's an entire thing that we all support. It's $1 billion enterprise. So just um Let your wallet do the talking for you. That's what I say. Let your wallet do the talking for you.
And take Angela Bassett and take Sandra Bullock's Oscar. You know, when you mentioned Pitchfork, I was looking for something. I was like, damn, who has pitchforks anymore? But I'm going to get a pitchfork just so I can pitchfork raise when it's pitchfork season. So, because I always wanted to be a part of a mob where there was burning sticks, burning sticks and pitchforks.
Yeah. Oh, I say leave her alone, but whatever. It is what it is. She ain't do that. What does she do? All right, so next up we're gonna talk about Ochocinco. Ochocinco was he was approached. He was featured on the Talk That Shit, I guess, show, and they somehow got on the subject of how much is appropriate to spend on a first date with a woman. Anyone who doesn't know Ochocinco, former NFL wide receiver, he played for the Cincinnati Bengals. That was the peak of his career. He also played for the Patriots. I think he won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, I believe. I think he did.
I'll fact check.
Maybe I might be wrong about that. Got to fact check.
I think I hear him talking a lot more if he actually.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't. I might have misspoke there, but he did play on the Patriots. So now, obviously he's retired. Then, of course, reality television, famously married, reality TV, socialite, non-interesting, weird, over-the-hill chick, Evelyn Lozada. There was some allegations of abuse there. That a marriage ended in a divorce. And so now Chad Ochocinco is doing his thing. He's on the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall and some of those other guys. Who else is on that show? Brandon Marshall and
they switched it
up.
I
think McCoy's on there sometimes. Channing Crowder is on the one with Ryan Clark.
Yeah, the pivot. They switched it up, so I don't know who's what alliances. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, they be switching up the cast members of these shows a little too much. But so Chad Ochocinco is a mainstay with Brandon Marshall. At least little Brandon Marshall's on that show. And so they got to talking about how much money is a good idea for a first date with a woman. And Chad Ochocinco's done well for himself, NFL career, so he's not exactly in the poorhouse, right? And be that as it may, this is what he had to say about whether a certain amount of money is too much for a first date.
What is a good amount of money to spend on a first date? A lot of girls feel like I got to spend a minimum $300 to be with them. I'm like, $300 what? $300.
American dollars?
Dollars.
Please. On who? On the first date?
Yo, Chad.
For what?
You're considered a high value man. So, ladies, this you got money?
I think high value is based on stream of income, revenue, but I am extremely cheap and financially conscious, so I don't consider myself a high value man.
And you have a lot of money.
Yes, and I'm going to save it, which is why a $300 date ain't never happening. Because what am I paying for actually? If I'm at wit's end and I need help and I'm with you and you need a $300 date, can she save me? Can she help me? Is she an asset or is she a liability? Because anybody need a $300 date off rip is nothing but a liability. I mean, it is. It's called a spade a spade.
I'm with you.
The women that want $300 dates, there are men out there that are going to continue to take them on it. That's why the women can always say, I'm not doing nothing but $300 a date. Because there are men that will spend $300 to reach their end goal. We know what the end goal is.
Wow.
So he kind of took it a step further and said I think the original premise behind the question was first date, but based on the way that he answered the question, it kind of took it to a level in which he was saying any $300 date would be too much because I'm not going that far. I'm cheap and I like my money. So what did you think about his response to that? There's this ongoing conversation about money and what you're supposed to spend. And you got a lot of these delusional women out here who think they deserve a certain thing, largely because they spend too much time living on their feeds and not in the real world. But, be that as it may, I think Chad Ochocinco was trying to dispense with some real talk, What did you think about that?
Well, first of all, I didn't know Mr. Ochocinco became a preacher. He was really up there, spewing the gospel. I wouldn't be surprised to see him behind the pulpit one day, because this was absolutely golden. Especially where he got to the point where he said that the reason why there's women that can, pretty much shake their neck and say these types of things is because, well, there's guys that are doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
And
that was the key.
yeah,
That was the key. Yeah.
and the entire market, is saturated with guys that are leading with their wallets. So this whole notion of, because I heard about this phenomenon. Now, I guess I was living under a rock. All right. Because hey man, I got a budget. I got a limit. I ain't spending it. Hey, sorry. We can have a great time. But let me get back to this. But to me, this was news to me. I didn't know people were spending this kind of money until, within the last couple years or so, that people are actually spending that much money on dates. Yeah, first or whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. It's just one night. And for the fact that there's hundreds of dollars being spent on one night, to me, I'm confused. And so, but there's a type of woman that commands that, and these guys are going for them, and these women, they know it. It's just they deserve each other, these people, because I don't encounter them. Maybe I did. I don't know. It couldn't be run on me because that literally doesn't compute. My first response is, I can cook better than them. I'm not going. First of all, ladies, I'm not going anywhere if I can cook better than them. All right. I'll go, you go to get something nice, at least back in the day, but hell, Cheesecake Factory, they done fell off. But you can go somewhere like Cheesecake Factory, you get the Alfredo, whatever. I'm like, this is garbage. You get anything. You like, hey, I can cook better than this. Taste my blackened salmon. I'll crush this. So I'm not going to drop $30 on this salmon plate. So this whole notion of dropping this kind of money on a date to me was just a foreign concept. But be that as it may, we have a market out there of guys that are leading with wallets. All right. Instead of leading with confidence, they lead with money, and that's how they get their play. So if you will, if this was an ecosystem and this was no different than animals or whatever, you would see these two parties congregating in the same areas because they think the same. They're symbiotic. They deserve each other. So what we have done is we've created the social media, the all types of stuff. We've talked about it every week. All the conditions that are targeting, masculinity. So with all of those things, targeting these people that are up and coming, they don't know what real manning is. But they know one thing that women would go for. And then they just start throwing that out there. And then what does it do? It if you start throwing breadcrumbs at a park, birds are going to start flying around and picking it up. So what do we have here? We got ourselves a situation where these clown types of people belong with each other. So let them have at it. But just stay on that side of the watering hole and leave us normal people alone. So how about you, man? How do you feel about this, man? This is tragic. We've now reached the days where guys are dropping over $300 on a first date just to get one shot at possibly touching her shoulder tonight. How do you feel about this, man? Unbelievable.
Well, it would have to be $300 just for a shot at touching her shoulder, because it was if it was for $300, um, for a guaranteed opportunity to smash, well, that would make you someone who is paying for prostitution, which a lot of guys do these days. So I'm not putting it past them. But when we're talking about dates in the traditional sense, not in the sex worker sense, yeah, it's $300 for the opportunity to have a second date, or to see her again, or to hang out again, to get her to act in a designed manner. It's a $300 investment in order to get her to want to text you back at the frequency that you want her to, or to get her to want to initiate communication with you in the new day the way that you want her to. That's what that $300 investment is for. Now, if we're talking commensurate compensation, 60, 70, 80 bucks is what is worth me getting you to respond to me like a human being, not $300. But Jay-Z on Blueprint 2, he had a song on the Curse called Meet the Parents. And the last line on the song that he said was, 6 shots into his kin out of the gun. Niggas be a father, you're killing your son. Let me repeat that. He said 6 shots into his kin out of the gun. Niggas be a father, you're killing your son. Now, that song was about, he was telling a story depicting a situation where a guy grew up, had a rough life, got into a relationship with a woman named Isis. The relationship went volatile, and bad things went left. Crimes, took place. People died, right? But I think that those lyrics can also be extrapolated to this context as well. And I'm not talking about be a father, you're killing your son in terms of we're dealing with people whose fathers are absentee, because I'm talking about all men, period. Men raised by their fathers and men raised not by their fathers. We need to do a better job of raising these dudes to have some principles and some morals and some integrity. And I know I rail about this on this channel often, but I don't give a damn because it needs to be said. More men today need to live a principled existence. I think it was either the last stream that we did or the stream before that. I talked about the importance of men having a mission statement. If you walk into any company or organization or corporation, most companies, they have core values, sets of things that company or organization lives by. It's usually like 5 of them. We do this, we do that, we care about this. Most companies have a mission. We are about doing this, this, and this, right? And I think we think of a mission statement in terms of corporatocracy most often. But I spent a summer a couple years ago reading a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And he, in one of the chapters, in the many chapters throughout that book, talked about one of the steps to being able to shift your paradigm involving you being able to write out your own mission statement for yourself. A statement which says, this is the thing that motivates me to wake up and try to conquer all my demons on a daily basis. I am motivated by this central mission. And within my motivation to this central mission, here are my non-negotiables. These are the things that I will not compromise in my pursuit of the achievement of this mission. What has happened in most this is my opinion, right? So in the latest generations of people, but more specifically men, if we're talking about the context of relationships, technology, the internet, and social media has supplanted the mission statement of men from previous generations. I think that our generation was the last generation of men who cared about living by a code, having something that made them say, I have these things that I am unwilling to compromise, even if it means I can get with the most beautiful woman in the world. If me getting with this chick means I have to compromise my mission statement, then I'm just not going to get with her. And I'm just going to strap myself up by my bootstraps and find the next woman to get with who is not going to require me to compromise my mission statement. You got far too many of these dudes out here who are raised by social media. See, it started as a small infection. It reminds me of the movie Outbreak. You had the one guy who got sick and he got infected by another guy who got sick. And then that guy went into the movie theater and started coughing. Now all of the spores are in the air and it goes into the ventilation system. Now the whole town is infected with this virus. And now you have to strongly consider nuking the whole damn town if you can't develop some sort of a, retrovirus. And that's what's going on with this situation with these dudes tricking off on these women. It started off as one weak-minded, non-principled having guy who saw something from on social media on his feed, probably put out by some rapper or some other guy who men should not be paying attention to. And he said, oh man, that's the kind of girl that I want to get with. Oh, that's what I have to do to get with her? I got to break bread like that? Okay, well, now I'm going to start doing that. And so he took that poisonous ideology to the rest of his circle of susceptible men. They all got infected with the disease, and then they in turn infected other pockets of men. And so now what we have is an all-out epidemic where what started as an initial infection has now spreaded and become a global pandemic where men now believe that this is what it takes in order to get the attention of a woman. Where if you guys weren't so reticent to allow your power to be stripped from you, you would realize the power that you have and understand that if you banded together as a collective unit and stop doing these things, women would acquiesce. They wouldn't have these expectations anymore. The only reason why they have these expectations is because you're granting them access to the expectations. So a lot of guys don't understand this. And so now if there is a world, it isn't a world that I live in which $300 for a first date is a reasonable expectation. We honestly have no one to blame but ourselves and our capitulation to this situation. Dudes need to be raised by their fathers and not by the internet and social media, not by TikTok, because this is what you get. More of this. Internet trends, challenges, TikToks, Instagrams, following sex workers on the internet, and that being a man's central motivation has firmly supplanted men developing their own code, their own mission statement. It has replaced it firmly. And so what we need to do is go back to the days. And I know I'm sounding like an old person, but I don't give a damn. Doesn't make just because I'm sounding like an old person doesn't mean that what I'm saying is any less true. But men need to go back to the old days in which we developed our own mission statements and didn't allow false prophets such as rappers or social media trends and influencers to develop our mission statements for us. The day that we get back to that is the day that we will live in a world in which, number one, high value won't be directly tethered to your income, because trust and believe you can be low value and still have a lot of money, right? But high value has been conflated with money, earnings, and income, which is another fallacy. And we will also live in a world where we won't have these ridiculous expectations that I have to be prepared essentially to spend $300 just so that I can have access to communication with this woman ongoing. That is the world that we now live in. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And I do mean that sarcastically because I don't think it. I hate it. But it is what it is. This is what you get. I alone, who lives principled and has a mission statement that I live by, am not enough to overpower the legion of no scrotum having, mindless, no social skills having men who are being raised by these various apps and being told mission statements aren't as important as getting to a bag so that you can get this woman who will just exploit you for said bag, but otherwise does not give a shit about you. So I don't know if that was Ochocinco's thinking behind his diatribe, but it was certainly my interpretation. And I hope more of you dudes out there listen to it.
Well, I hope so. But
this is where we're at.
Yeah, but the trend, I'm telling you, man, the trends are The trends are not looking in our favor. So, hey man, these guys, these young guys, they grew up with video games. That is a whole universe in itself, and it's gaming online. So you got gaming buddies, so you're getting social interaction, but it's all from men. And so you're always in the chat with the boys. It's the boys this, the boys that. You don't go outside. And you're following these streamers who are most likely men or women that are trying to bait young men into sending money because they're so thirsty and they want some type of female attention because they're not going outside. So when we have all of this stuff going on, to tell a young man, it's like, hey, get some self-confidence, bro. Go get some self-confidence. And he's gonna be like, where do I begin? And so one thing's gonna lead to another. He's gonna go back to the websites, and then he's gonna go back to sending money to get attention again. And then when push comes to shove, when real life stuff starts to hit, and he's gonna want something, the same defense mechanism just pops out of, let me just throw money. I know she's gonna jump for money. And when they're doing that, that is a lack in self-confidence. And so, but where do you get that? So for us, I'll speak for myself, but for me, hooping was where I got a lot of that self-confidence from. Whenever I would do artistic stuff, that was another way where I got a form of self-confidence. Because when today's drawing day in school, and we're drawing on manila paper, I'm crushing this. So all the girls in the class gonna go, who drew that? This guy. So self-confidence boosts. We go out there and we go play sports. It's field day. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm not coming in first. I ain't coming in last. I'm pretty much second or third, So who's coming in third in the race when all these people are running? This guy. So it's like, oh, all right. So I got something to hang my hat on. So, overtime or whatever. Then when it got into hooping, then it became a thing of playing competition one-on-one against another man. And then playing against another man and then taking his confidence. Then you walk away from the court, charged up on other people's juice that you just took from them. What a confidence boost. Then you just go out in the world and you start displaying that. Then a girl looking at you because you just at the gas station getting whatever, Gatorade. Then the girl at the gas station going, God damn, not only do you have confidence, it look like you just took somebody else's on. And I'm like, you damn right, yeah, I did. Those guys are getting that taking confidence from headshots and stuff on Call of Duty. They beating their chest in the house, slurring each other up and calling each other all kinds of names. They doing all of that combat that we did on the basketball court or in online chat rooms where it's not a face-to-face real interaction with nothing. So these guys are being socialized in a brand new way using the same type of socialization tools, or learning types of things. But instead of using it in the field and stuff like that, scratching our knees in that type of capacity, they're learning it in AC behind closed doors where there's no estrogen around. So how can they learn to be men? They're not. So the very next step is to go, how can I get her attention? Because I ain't got nothing to offer her. I just got some headshots in Call of Duty. I wonder if she can smell that on me. Yeah, she can. That's why she went in the other aisle when your ass walked over here. So what's the key, fellas? I'm talking to the young guys, all the guys out there, you already know what's going on. But the young guys that maybe be like, hey, what's happening in life? Hey, man, I'll tell you the key, bro. You got to go outside. So go outside, go get you something done, nature-y, go get a gym membership, go run around, go get active, go do some stuff, axe throwing, hell, any damn thing. Get out there and work that testosterone. Start building it naturally, no supplements or weirdo stuff. All right. And start building up something that I'm telling you right now, that natural pheromone that's coming from your pores, all right, you're gonna find that nice little 6, and she gonna be ready for you, bro. Because guess what? You're a 6 too, and nobody cares. But you're gonna find your equal, and you're gonna chill the hell out. At least idealistically, that's better than sitting behind that monitor and clicking on your damn keyboards. But that's where we're at, dude. So this is the world we're living in. More power to the young generation out there. I know I just gave you some harsh words, but hey, man, this was the stuff that they introduced to our generation. But we just had another way of living before it got to us. So we can go back and forth. We can go between worlds. But if the only world they know is video games, indoors, porno sites, hey, this is only going to get worse. So, hey, man, more power to the young guys, man.
It's not even just those things. It's just the phones. It's all of it. It's TikTok, it's Instagram, it's all of that kind of stuff. I know when my nephew's 13, and whenever I'm with him, I limit his TikTok activity because it's just like, nah, bro, we're not gonna do this. You're not even allowed to take. You have to be at least 14 to get into my gym, and he's 13, and I sneak him in anyway because it's like you're coming in here. Now, granted, my nephew's being raised traditional. He has 2 traditional parents, thank God. So he does things. He goes outside. He likes to fish, and he hunts with my brother. So he's safe. I do believe he's safe, but he's an exception. I feel this day and age. And I just hope that he can just set an example for his peer group at least. I don't know how many friends he has, but like the one of the greatest tricks that's been pulled with this situation, and I blame the manosphere for this. I blame the litany of podcasts and YouTube shows that try to teach men how to be more successful with women. They've instilled in you guys this idea that it's just in a woman's nature to be this way. No, it's not. The only thing that it's in a woman's nature to be is like acquiescing to whatever it is that a man does. Like that's what is in the nature of most women. Like you're gonna have some. Okay, like are there a certain percentage of women in the world who are soulless and who don't care and who are just man eaters and just don't give a shit and will just take. Yeah. But the majority of people in the world, including women, are reasonable. We say this all the time. The outliers are those who exist on the internet. Instagram models and chicks who do OnlyFans and TikTokers, those women are in the minority of the population. If your world is built around your consumption of these various things, then it's going to create the perception in your mind that that's the majority of the world. But it's not. The majority of the world is reasonable people who might dabble in these things from time to time, but otherwise live in a world where they're actually physically doing things socially around other people in person. Okay? But what the manosphere has done is convince these guys that it's in the nature of a woman to be an extractor. It's not. So it takes a collective effort. If more men collectively set the expectation that a $300 first date isn't reasonable, then more women would understand it's unreasonable for me to have an expectation for a $300 date. You do not have to work towards providing a $300 date when you know that there's something wrong about that. But we set the tone. So when we set the tone that that's what's going to happen, the women are going to respond in kind. Stop listening to these people who make these YouTube shows and these podcasts telling you that you have to get to this bag and make this kind of money and that you're otherwise worthless because you're not racking in enough money to be able to spend $300 on each date. That is not the majority of the population. That's 10% of the population. It's ridiculous. So, these male content creators play a role in creating this climate. And they're part of the problem. It ain't women doing this. It's women saying, hey, if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it. So you just got to stop giving it to them. The problem is we keep giving it to them. These men, these flaming hypocrites who create these, and I'm not going to mention any of these shows by name, but they are a part of creating the very thing that they claim to be trying to teach men out of. Like they
Yeah.
claim to be trying to eliminate men, like they claim to be trying to build men's self-esteem, to give men confidence, to teach them the right kind of social skills, to limit the amount of incels in the population. That's what their mantra is. This is what we're all about, building up the manosphere. But really, you're creating all those things. You're telling a man that his worth is nothing but his income. That creates self-esteem, confidence, and incel issues, because it doesn't matter what I've achieved in life or what I've done if I don't bring in this money. If I'm not able to take this chick out on this date and spend $400 or $500 every time, then everything else about me is worthless. Y'all are reinforcing these various tropes onto these guys, and then they go out into the world and they infect other men with the ideology like a virus. So I realized this a long time ago, and I said I need to stop consuming this content. It is not healthy for me. It's not. Women are not watching these shows. They don't give a shit. You think women are watching some of these shows and saying, huh, those guys got a point. I'm going to change my ways. No, they're not. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
Especially the angry ones, especially the
Right.
ones that's just sitting there bashing women.
Right. They don't care. They've got 10 dudes in their DMs offering to spend $1,000 on a date. What incentive do they have to watch your show telling them that they're wrong for maintaining those expectations? There's no incentive for them to do that. So it's on the guys. You know, we got to reverse course on some of this kind of stuff. $300 for a first date might sound reasonable and normal to a lot of y'all out there watching this video, but that's because we've gone so far left. The pendulum has swung so far in the wrong direction in terms of our consumption of the kind of content and commentary which suggests that this is normal life. It isn't. It isn't. It really isn't. Especially with the way that this economy is going. Middle class doesn't exist anymore. You either got it or you don't. And 90% of the people don't, and 10% of the people do. So unless you're going to convince me that 90% of the people are supposed to sit here and budget out $300 for a date, we're going to have to sit down at the table and reevaluate this entire equation. So I think Ochocinco has the right idea, and this is coming from a guy who does actually have it. So yeah, there's a point to be had with this kind of stuff. And obviously the way, you know, this, like all of the other topics that we mentioned on this show, more guys need to listen to it, because, you know, the men do set the tone. Women might have access to sex. Men have access to everything else. Men have access to relationships and marriages. Women just have access to sex. That's it. And that's not to diminish a woman's contribution. It just is what it is. There's no girlfriend, boyfriend, unless a guy says, hey, why don't we go together? There's no marriage unless a guy says, hey, chick, why don't you marry me? Women don't have control of those things. We control access to a lot of that. But you're ceding power every time that you acquiesce to these various power dynamics. It's not real. It's a fallacy. It doesn't exist. So just recognize that.
Get outside, young man. Get outside. Hey man, that's the answer. You gotta drop the technology. So whatever it is, you gotta wean yourself off of that and just get outside and scrape your knees up some. Go shoot a shot and get turned down, bro. Like, it's part of the game. And but nobody wants to be rejected. I mean, nobody ever did, but there was always this thing where, you know, perseverance was part of the code. You know, you got to fight through shit. You know, that's gone. So everybody wants to just get lazy rivered down life. So they want to run away from accountability and run away from being rejected. And so that's what we got, man. A lot of people that don't want to be mature. And, you know, there's areas in my life where I'm not the most mature, you know, and, you know, I can look at all kinds of things, but hey, man, things are environmental and things are social. And some of the cues that I picked up that were immature in nature were social things that I picked up in life. So there's just times that you just have to realize that, oh, damn, hey, there's a better way. And I got the answer. And the answer is go do the hard thing, the
Yeah.
responsible thing. And
Go to work. Go to
yeah,
work. People don't want to
and
work for anything.
and even in self-help books, they'll tell people when they got to write down goals and all this other stuff. But I've heard good things as far as do at least one thing per day that you don't want to do. Go do that. You don't want to do it, that means you should do it.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah.
And just pushing yourself, and taking it to another level. But if there is no internal type of thing where that person does want to actually better themselves, they're just gonna roll right on over, man. So hey, 2024, right around the corner, man. Let's see it. I want to see it, man. Hey, and join us here at the Conscious Approach, as the planet is literally on fire.
All right. Yeah, all facts. Y'all need to go, go to Barnes and Noble if you still do that thing, or if you want to do the audio book. But the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. More men need to read that book. When you get to the chapters on when it gets to the chapters on interdependence and writing out your mission statement, you'll thank me later. But y'all need to write your mission statements out and just have something that gets you up and gets you going every day, and not just being this empty vessel who's just out here chasing pussy all day. You'd be amazed what you can accomplish if you just switch your priorities up a little bit.
And honestly, you get more once you actually. Next topic. Let's go. Let's do it. Hey.
Oh boy, 6 shots into his kin out of the gun. Niggas be a father, you're killing your son. Gee whiz, man. Shouts out to Ochocinco, man. Appreciate the content.
Ocho from the crib. Skirt.
Okay, so Soulja Boy thinks that he doesn't get the credit that he deserves.
Right.
So for anybody who, we follow hip hop. Anybody who doesn't follow hip hop, this year is being the year that is designated as the 50th anniversary of the genre. And so there's all kinds of initiatives and concerts and shows and things going on to celebrate hip hop's 50th anniversary. And in recognition of hip hop's 50th anniversary, a lot of artists are being spotlighted for various contributions that they have made to the music over the years. Soulja Boy, one who is not, Soulja Boy is certainly not one to mince his own comments and opinions. He gets loud on the internet often. He believes that he does not get the credit that he deserves for the pioneer in music that he is. So we often talk about this music and the influence that it has on the masses on this channel. And we thought that these were interesting comments made by Soulja Boy. So we will go ahead and provide some context. All relevant links will appear in the description of this video, as always, for anyone who wants to reference them. But this article says Soulja Boy reflects on his impact on hip hop in honor of his 50th anniversary. Soulja Boy reflected on his influential career in honor of the 50th anniversary of hip hop on X, the website formerly known as Twitter, Sunday. Soulja appeared to be upset about not getting enough recognition in regard to Hip Hop 50. When I came in the game, they said I killed hip hop, but really I birthed the new wave of hip hop with internet streaming. Ahead of my time, hashtag Hip Hop 50, he wrote in one post. He followed up by adding, now everyone vlogs their career like me. Now everyone uploads their music to the internet. Now everyone goes live for their fans. I started it. Thank me or not. Flowers/credit or not. Hashtag Hip Hop 50. From there, Soulja reposted numerous tweets from fans. One user wrote, quote, I can truly say you didn't ruin it. You just brought a new style people weren't used to. That's all. Now, a majority of these new rappers today, I believe, ruin hip hop. It just doesn't have that same feel anymore, sadly. And a lot of music these days sounds too repetitive. You're missing an O in that too there, person. Another agreed. Nowadays, we can't do chat GPT whenever they're doing their tweets or whatever. Nowadays, we have a bunch of rappers claiming to be the first and whatever they do. You were the first rapper to do literally everything modern. Check out Soulja Boy's tweets on his influence below. So there you go. Soulja Boy thinks that his impact on modern hip hop is grossly understated. He deserves more credit. Do you have a take on Soulja Boy's comments there?
Yeah, I think I agree with that last tweet or last statement you made. But Soldier, this is part of his promo. This is one of his promo tools. Is claiming that he created something, and he's been doing this for a while. So yeah, I'm the first person to what did he say? To do ringtones. I'm the first person to do this. I'm the first person to do, and some of that stuff he might have been one of the first, because hey, MySpace days and all this other stuff, there was a lot of people doing the first stuff, and so, but at the same time, on the grassroots, on a ground floor level, everybody was already doing it. It's not, he didn't create anything. So the thing about Soulja is, what he does is he's a wave biter, flow stealer, and what he does is he does his market research and he steals, kind of like what Drake does. And so he'll peruse the rap scene, see what people are doing, see what the hottest, latest, whatever, and he mimics it. That's what Soulja does. So when Soulja came out with, Crank That and all that other crap, that shit was live. Everybody was messing with it. You know what I'm saying? I hated it, but I understood it, so I didn't hate it like that. So I was like, all right, man, whatever. So he went from Crank That young man to trap rapper. So now he talks about how he moves bricks and how he'll shoot you. But he went there because, well, he had to. He's a mimicker. And he just wanted to mimic the best trap rappers at that time. And so he just stuck with the trap rap and kept rolling with that. So I say all that to say is that Soulja, he is a person that will do whatever it takes to get on. He will. And he is, honestly, if you do want to give him a first or something, honestly, he's like the first, like 6'9" kind of person, in the sense of he's just a complete act, and he's just putting on whatever. I'm gonna do stuff that's outrageous, so my name's in the thing. Mind you, Soulja, every year or at least every other year, he blows up again on some dumb shit because he knows how to play the viral algorithm. So he was one of the first viral kind of people. He was.
Yeah.
And so but because the internet was becoming a thing, when social media was becoming a thing, like MySpace. So it opened a door for human trolls. And so Soulja Boy, a musical troll, will do whatever it takes to musically be in your feed. So is there some level of genius to him? I think it's that. The fact that he knows how to get your attention. That's his genius. Everything else is whatever. And he's going to do whatever it takes to stay on and stay relevant. Soulja will be on and relevant so long as he's alive, because he knows how to get in your feed. So I do give him that credit. I do find him entertaining as a human. To me, he is literally an avatar of a person. He is not a real person to me. He is literally a character of a human. He's one of the only people that I look at and go, yeah, this guy's not alive. He's literally a character. And so I just laugh at him every time, but I'm kind of a fan of that, as weird as that sounds. All right. But how do you feel about all of this stuff, man? Do you feel like Soulja Boy is actually the pioneer and the forefather to a lot of this new age rap that's going on nowadays?
I'm willing to give him that card if he wants it. The question is, why would he want it? But yeah, I agree. I also think that he's a caricature. Soulja Boy to me is a court jester. He's a what's the word I'm looking for? He's a we called he's a minstrel show. Soldier
Yeah.
Soldier Boy is a minstrel show.
He is. He is.
And but the thing is, he's shameless because he
Yes.
revels in his status. He revels in being he's proud of being
Yeah.
a modern day minstrel.
Yes.
Um, and the thing is, like, okay, fine, you want to say that you pioneered all of this. Okay, if you want to have that card, fine, I'll give it to you. But are you sure that's something that you want? Because if I'm going to give you, like, in and of itself, him spearheading the content creator movement within the music, that is a good thing from the standpoint that it puts more power into the hands of the artist. If you are a SoundCloud rapper or somebody who just uploads their own music to YouTube or whatever, you don't have to go the traditional route where you essentially sell your soul to a record label and they essentially own your soul, own your bird rights, right? Like, you don't even own the means to make the most money off of your own art because the labels get their cut, and representatives and A&Rs get their cut, and you're putting in all of this work making all of this music, and then you get the scraps left over, and the only way that you can really make real money off of the work that you put in is by constantly touring and doing live shows. So if you are a content creator and you're uploading your own stuff, you get to set your own terms. And so I'm not going to lie, I think that that's a good thing because it puts the power, or at least some of the power, into the hands of the artist. However, that's the only area in which I'm going to say, if you are the pioneer of this, that was one noble thing that you pioneered. The rest of this stuff, I'm going to say you contributed to pioneering garbage, sewage, as you like to call it, sludge,
That's right.
sludge,
That's
sludge,
right.
because you pioneered microwavable music that is lacking any kind. Like, you pioneered microwave music. So
Yes.
fine, if you want to get the credit for that, cool, you got it. You got it. But in saying that, you pioneered microwavable music that lacks the kind of artistic integrity that it once had. Even if we want to focus on the sort of the sort of lasered, what's the word, the limited subject matter of the music, which is violence, drug, gun bars, all of that stuff, right? The things that we talk about on this channel often. Even within the context of that, the music has gotten watered down.
Yeah.
Because at least back in the day, like when I got my drug and gun bars pre Soulja Boy, I was gonna get some bars, some quotables, some beats to hear this stuff over that I can ingest and be like, I might not be okay with that, but I can extract what I need from it and appreciate the talent and the bars that goes into this. Post Soulja Boy, now all I'm getting is just sewage and sludge devoid of talent. Because essentially what Soulja Boy did was open the door up to people who want to be characters. And in this weird world that we now live in, this current culture and society, we reward people who are soulless enough to just put themselves out there on Front Street to be caricatures. Yes. We reward this. So, don't think that there's any like credit that you get for being a Soulja Boy or Soulja Boy acolyte. It just means that you're able to feast upon our culture, which is willing to reward people for being caricatures.
Yep.
That's not necessarily a good thing. It just is what it is. That's just the way the world is now. That doesn't make it noble. It's not noteworthy in any kind of positive way. That's just the way that things are. But if you want to be given credit for being a pioneer, fine, I'll give it to you, Soulja Boy. You pioneered microwavable sewage, garbage music. And I'm not even talking about the fact that guys just want to talk about smoking ops and taking my wife or my girlfriend from me or selling dope to my auntie or my uncle. I'm just saying, even within the context of rapping about that stuff, you created an entire generation and more of artists coming into the game, putting that kind of music out there and doing it badly. And because we celebrate this stuff, you've thereby created a culture surrounding the music of no accountability. So these people who make these shows, these content creators, these podcasters, these hip hop journalists who are spineless and would not dare to criticize Soulja Boy for putting out trash music because they want to be able to have a good relationship and get them on their show. You also contributed to creating that environment as well. You pioneered the degradation of the music as we know it. So congratulations. If that's what you want to be a pioneer of, you got it. I'll give you credit for being somebody who created a content creator space for artists. I'll give you that much. So you get that just due from me. But in terms of the quality of the music, and I'm not somebody that needs every song to be like, I don't need every song to be Nas, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, KRS-One. I don't need every song to be that. But damn, give me some talent. Give me some bars. Give me some actual music making. And that's what we are sorely lacking more so than anything else. So yeah, Soulja Boy, you get credit for pioneering this whole thing. I hope you're happy.
No, yeah, and it's another one out there too, man. The him and Little B as well, and Little B still making music. And by the way, guys, if you guys don't know who Little B is, please go ahead and do yourself a favor and go down the Little B rabbit hole. All right, he's been out for a very long time, and he also pioneered a lot of this goofy stuff, and he inspired Soulja Boy in a lot of ways. So, but when you hear him rap and hear what he's rapping about, sometimes you're like, what the hell's going on? But he's got a very large fan base. They love him. And, you would think that it's not really good, but he's got people out there that love his stuff. And I bring that up to say is that there's a lot of guys out there that have contributed to today's modern garbage. And Soulja Boy, I still wouldn't even put him on the Mount Rushmore of the people that started this garbage. So is he a contributing factor? Yeah, he's like an all-star. He's not a superstar, but he's an all-star. He's on the list. Probably second team. Not first team. There's some first teamer people out there that's like, no, him for sure. Because again, Soulja, the only thing he does is take a style that's already hot and just tries to mimic it, and he just adds to the garbage. He rarely creates a new wave of garbage. So what he has done, and as far as what he did, is promote this too much. He promotes this dumb shit too much, the minstrel shit too much. And that's the part about it that again, it's a weird relationship that I have with Soulja Boy, because on one hand, I laugh at it because it's so funny. And then on the other hand, it's like, but people are eating this up.
Yeah.
So how hard can I laugh at this? But then I still laugh because, well, if I don't laugh, what am I going to do? Be mad about it? So I just laugh at him while he's doing what he's doing. Hopefully that the people that are watching him are also just watching him as a character. And also hoping he don't crash out on some dumb shit, because he looked like he been on drugs lately too. Crazy.
Yeah.
So for these kind of guys, I look out for them like that kind of. If they didn't really do anything crazy, I think the thing is with Soulja is he's off and he's crazy, but he grew up in this. He's actually a child of the dumb shit that we were listening to. So for us, because he was coming out, when we was out of high school. So that means he was listening to that garbage that was, we were listening to in middle school and high school, and he went out and mimicked it. He's a product of hip hop. Look at your baby. It's Soulja Boy. He's got tats all over his face. He's a menace to society. Well, at least social media he is. All right. He's a menace to social media. So this is the child of hip hop. So it will be interesting to see the children, the real children of this generation here. All right. The smoking ops generation, because I agree with you, bro. it got to a point with gun and drug bars that I really didn't want to hear them. But I'm still listening to artists who do it. I don't want to like this song, and I don't want to like that bar. I like the song and I like the bar because it went hard.
Yeah.
It went hard. It took some thought into that, you know. And if you listen to I remember when we was in high school, we was like, oh yeah, this guy's good. And people was like, man, y'all gotta listen to Big L. Y'all sweet, y'all gotta listen to Big L. So then I get my hands on some Big L tapes, and this guy's spazzing, going crazy, you know. And so when you listen to these, it was so at that time, bro, it took something else. But now with the microwaviness of it all, the emergenciness of it all, it I mean, it leaves you with the runs. I can't even listen to. I mean, first of all, I don't even go to bars or clubs like that. But if I went to a club right now, what are they going to be playing? Munch? What are they going to be playing? Sexy Red? Everything's gonna be ratchet rap anyway. But then they'll cut to what we supposed to like now, or what I'm supposed to like, and I don't rock with smoking ops and all of that stuff. Like that type of rap, because I really didn't listen to it. But then, you know, I started listening to it because, well, I'm trying to see what's going on. It's disgusting. That is the worst form. Drill. So the drill stuff, the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's worse than selling drug music. I mean, that is just the pits. And so, but that's the direction that people are going in. And it's people that don't even know what a drill is, and they making drill music. And so, yeah, man, I can't stand what's happening. And as you mentioned, because that was what I was going to mention too, was that this is nothing to be proud of. If you say that most rappers are your children out here, that you just said you're a degenerate father. Mm-hmm. You just said that you a deadbeat, shiftless and worthless, because look at all your children, you know. So if we had a whole bunch of substance out here, a whole bunch of hip hop, not rap, then, you know, that would be something to hang your hat on. All right. But nah, I don't drive with it. I don't like the direction music's in. But Soulja, as you mentioned, good word, bro. He's a minstrel show. I couldn't really put my finger on it. But yeah, he's no different than anybody else that was tap dancing on stage. And the part about it that's wild, again, because I be feeling sorry for him. And it's because who lives like this and believes this? You got to be crazy. And so that's the part about it, is he's a crazy person. So I kind of cheer for him because of that. It's kind of like a sorry guy. I feel sorry for that. Yeah. So Soulja, have at it, man. Be the pioneer of ass. I guess that's a cool thing.
Yeah, no, he's like Flavor Flav today. You know, he's the guy that's just there, and he's put a huge clock around his chest and have him be
because who hates Flavor Flav?
Nobody.
Yeah,
but he was
so nobody really hates Soulja Boy. They just go, get out of my face, kid, kind of thing.
But in terms of what he's trying to claim credit for, it's like, all right, bro, I guess you get credit for helping to like make this music kind of bad nowadays. And I know that's a generational take because you probably got, I'm being facetious when I say that, because I do think that it's objectively worse. Like, I think that it's objectively worse, but someone else will say, oh, you're just being old, or you're a hater, or that's all they'll say is either I'm old or I'm a hater. It's one of those two things. And it's like, well, no, I just kind of think it's objectively worse. So if you want credit for that, cool. You can have that all day long, sir. And you look at some of these, Soulja Boy like people, from back in the day, way back then, like Cali Swag District. So like a lot of these didn't even last that long. Like they made a few songs and disappeared into the ether. Travis Porter, what the hell happened to them?
Yeah.
Like where did they go? And that was around the same time. And I think I do recall hearing Soulja Boy before those people, Roscoe Dash. Like what happened to these people? You know, Soulja Boy came along and he created a blueprint, and then here come the rest of these weirdos making this microwavable, green ooze like from Ninja Turtles too. You know, you step in it, and all of a sudden you turn into like a mutant creature.
Yeah.
But all right, if you want credit for that, Soulja Boy, you got it, bro. On the 50th anniversary of this, you get credit for pioneering microwavable music.
Yeah, there you go.
Because Soulja Boy type music was the precursor to a lot of the music that I hear now. You know, I'll be on my Spotify and it'll be like new release for you. And it's like, how does this hit my algorithm? Like my whole recent, but that's because the majority of new hip hop music is that. Like, like the artists that I listen to, they may make an album now once every few years. Like they go forever before they put out new music, unless they're featured on somebody else's track. But if you're talking about on a daily, weekly basis, new music getting put out, it's this sludge. So because I mostly listen to hip hop on my Spotify, whenever I get those new music alerts, it's gonna be something that is classified as hip hop music, but it's sludge. And I'll try to listen to it. And first of all, the song don't even last long enough for me to even get, after about a minute and a half, the song is already over. It doesn't have a chorus. There's no hook. You get maybe one verse and the song is over. So I don't even know what the hell they talked about because the song was over in a minute and a half. And then I have to run it back over and over again. And they're just not even really talking about nothing the whole time. And they're an artist, or at least that's what they're trying to tell me. That's what they're trying to sell me on. So, yeah, I don't buy it. I think it's all garbage, most of it at least. And if he wants credit for being a pioneer, then you get credit for making the garbage. That's my 2 cents on that. Go listen to Nas Magic 2. That's what I'll say. But that'll do it for tonight's stream. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate a member of the tribe, Illmatic X, for commenting on the chat, man. Thanks for tuning in, bro. Appreciate the support as always. My name is JV Wins. That is Dogon SS. Catch us on Instagram at Conscious Approach, CONAPPROACH. And you can also find me on Instagram at JV Wins. Be on the lookout for the audio RSS feed for all of our broadcasts coming to you real soon. So big things on the way as we continue to kick this logical content. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button if you have not already done so. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other piece of content that gets uploaded to this channel. And if you happen to be watching this video on the Meta page, go ahead and follow the page and hit that like button there as well. And leave a comment there as well. Comments all around as long as they are not of the troll variety. Other than that, I certainly appreciate everybody who continues to support our channel over here in our little corner of the YouTube internet. We certainly appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS, not Doggone. All right. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS and Hurricane Dogon here on YouTube. And as I say on every pod, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it clear, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. All right. So until the next time, guys, we'll catch y'all on the flip side. Skr.
Yes, sir, man. Fellas, go. You know what? I'm going to put the title of that book in the description of this video. Y'all go and buy the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Please. Please go and buy that book. Read it front to cover to back cover and thank me later. It will do your body some good. And while you're at it, please sit down and write your personal mission statement out. Just write it out. Just write it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Write it out. And, go ahead and have something to live for beyond all of this crazy stuff going on out here in the world, man.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, on that note, we're going to go ahead and close out. See you on the next video. Peace.
Hey,
go
Canes,
Heat, baby. Go Heat, go Dolphins, go Seminoles. Seminoles, college football playoff bound, baby.
I can't believe you
college
said
football
that,
playoff, baby. What's up?
see, you